Welcome to the importance and power of reading. I'm Michelle, the computer lady, your host. During some awful dark times in America, Black people were denied the ability to read, to learn how to read, to write, or to even own books. And that has hampered our communities up until this day. Now we're going to have important conversations about the importance and power of reading. Hi, everybody. Welcome to this new segment on the importance and power of reading. Today, I have a dynamic young person. She is an amazing mom. She's an amazing entrepreneur and business owner. And I want to introduce everybody to Shay Miles. Hi, Shay. How are you?
Hey, Miss Michelle. How are you? I'm doing well.
Awesome. Now, I just want you to take the time to tell everybody about where you are, who you are, some of the wonderful things that you're doing, and about your journey as a mom.
Okay, so my name is Shay Miles, as you just mentioned, and I founded Darty Deals. We provide tech solutions for underserved communities. So right now I'm located right in the heart of America in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And if you're not familiar with Tulsa, Oklahoma, that is Black Wall Street, the heart of Black entrepreneurship. And I am a mom of four, a boy mom. They range from age 16 all the way to age 5. And yeah, I just help entrepreneurs be great. We do it through, project management techniques, but other stuff, especially things that cater to the Black community.
That is absolutely wonderful. And so how can people reach you if they would like help with their entrepreneurial journey?
So you can definitely find me anywhere on social media at Darty Deals. You can also find me, Shay Miles, on LinkedIn. That's the best way and the quickest way to reach me if you would like to work with me.
That is absolutely phenomenal. Now, what I like about you, Shay, is that you are a phenomenal young person doing some great things in your community because you've been working with the Black Wall Street, but you also work with other entities in that Tulsa area.
Yes.
So that's really awesome. Now, let's dive into some of these questions. The first question is, did you like reading as a child?
Oh, absolutely. So I was definitely a big reader when I was a kid. I enjoyed books. Dr. Seuss, one fish, two fish, red fish, blue fish. I still remember the lines from the book today. I was a big boxcar children reader. So yes, reading has been a big part of my life, all of my life.
Awesome. So how young were you when you started reading?
According to my mother, too. She said I was so nosy. I was reading like street signs, like the stop sign and stuff like that. But as far as I can remember, I think I was like 4 years old when I, remember the books.
That is amazing. So who would you say is your major influence as far as your reading journey is concerned?
Ooh, my biggest influence.
Mom, dad, grandma, aunt, a teacher, mentor, whom?
Maybe my mother. My mother is not a big reader, so my mom does not like to read, but she has always supported me reading. So she's the mom that would take me to the library, drop me off for hours, come back and pick me up. She's the mom that would lug the books. She ordered the books. She had all the subscriptions. So she even still has my Better Home and Gardens magazine subscription coming to her house now. So my mother has definitely been my biggest supporter.
That is absolutely amazing. And shout out to Mom.
Yes.
People don't understand or don't realize, even if you don't read as a parent, it is so important to make sure that our children read.
Absolutely.
And a lot of times older people don't read because back where I grew up, there was a stigma around reading. The stigma was if you knew how to read because of our ties to slavery, you could get hurt for having knowledge and having information. And that's why a lot of people, even if they can read, they kind of hide it. But we don't have to do that today. We have all these wonderful things.
Yeah.
Except for, and we still have challenges in school where
Absolutely.
there are students that are like marginalized because they're smart. But we're going to remove those types of stigmas today. That's why
Absolutely.
the whole journey on reading, because we want kids to know that it's a positive thing to be able to read. It's a positive thing to be able to comprehend. Now, what was your favorite book as a child?
One fish, blue fish. One fish, two fish, red fish, blue fish. My head is old, my teeth are gold. I have a bird I like to hold. My shoe is off, my foot is cold. My shoe is off, my foot is cold. I have a bird I like to hold. My head is old, my teeth are gold, and now my story is all told. One fish, two fish.
I love it.
That was my favorite book.
Dr. Seuss has grown up with a lot of folks, and I remember Dr. Seuss as a child myself. I was a little older child, but I love picture books, even as an adult.
Right? They're more engaging for sure.
Oh, absolutely. And you get lost in the pictures. That's what I like about writing picture books for children, because when I see them look at the pictures, even if they can't read, they're looking at the picture and they're like, mommy, tell this to me. So always, that's just my joy.
That's true.
What is your favorite book as an adult, and what are some of your recommendations for reading?
Okay, so as an adolescent, as I got to be a teen, I started to venture out into the urban fiction, the Sister Soldiers. That's how I fell in love with reading as I grew up. Nowadays, everything is a little bit more business geared. I love the Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. That's my favorite one right now. I go back to it faithfully. And I also like this book called Traction, and that was written by this guy named Gino, and he's really great at business.
That is amazing. So you've got Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. You got Traction. Those are really good reads, especially if you're talking about being an entrepreneur.
Absolutely.
And getting people. Oh, absolutely. Because it's a blueprint on where you want your life to go. Now, for me, I've been reading Leadership by Stephen Graham.
Really?
Oh, yeah. This thing is amazing. And I got this book on sale. It's usually $35. I got it for $15 at Ollie's. So I was very, very happy.
I love a good book sale. If you're in Dallas or anywhere in that Texas region, Half Price Books is your gold mine.
Baby. That's what I'm talking about.
Yes,
getting our folks reading, getting our kids reading.
Those gems, yes.
Now, as a professional person,
yes,
how has reading helped you in your journey? How has reading just encompassed your life?
So for one, my personal journey, reading has, my professional journey. So reading has opened up so many doors for me because, for one, I hold a master's degree in applied behavior analysis, so lightweight, brag. But if you are a psychologist, you know that every part of that field is about reading. So if you don't read, you won't make it in psychology at all. And I've used that, those skills have been transferred over to my project management and my entrepreneurship because, you have to read contracts and you have to read the fine print when you're signing up for software. So reading is something I use every day. I have to read the comment, if you're on social media, you have to read the comments and not only read them, but understand them and know how to respond to them. So that starts with first, you have to read them.
Well, that's why it's so important on this reading journey. And you talked about comprehension. Now, remember, there are going to be kids watching this, and you're going to be watching this with your kiddos. Explain to them what comprehension means to you in this reading journey.
It means that you understand. Comprehension means you understand what you're reading. So it's one thing to read, it's another thing to understand. And if you misunderstand something, then, the whole point of reading is just lost. So if you don't understand, you need to make sure that you speak up and you let people know, hey, I have a question. And there's no such thing as dumb questions. So comprehension means understanding.
And that's what I want to get at the crux of, because I know people that read the words, they know what the letters mean, but they don't understand. They don't have that high level knowledge of, okay, when I hear the word comprehend, what that wraps around in my brain, especially when we talk about children, because a lot of times in schools, we find sometimes children, the teacher assumes that they're comprehending, or they think they'll get it, and kids get passed on to other grades and not know how to read. And that's one of the reasons why I want our parents to make sure that our children understand. And speaking of making sure how your children understand, how do you make sure that your children understand how to comprehend the material that they're going through?
So my kids, a lot of parents may not agree with this, but I have boys, and we know that boys aren't always the people who love to read. It's been shown in science. This is not something that I'm making up. And so with my guys, I've always strongly encouraged reading. We read all the time. I don't order food for them. They read the menu. They order their food themselves if they don't understand. Like if it's a bigger menu, I'll take the time and read the menu to them, but I make sure that they understand that whether they like it or not, they're gonna have to read, so they might as well get used to it. And we're gonna read all the time.
That part, and that's amazing. Well, we've got to take a 10-minute, we got to take a short segment for a commercial break. We're going to be right back with my good friend and my mentee, Shay Miles, as we discuss the importance and power of reading. Stay tuned.
All right now.
Are you a company, business, or service that believes in social responsibility? Would you like to make a positive impact? You can. You can sponsor this program and be seen by 2 million viewers on the PIC TV network. Call 770-367-1268 for more information today. Today is amazing. Anytime you have a young mother with children and she's taking the time to make sure they comprehend, that's the point. And we have with us Shay Miles from Darty's Deal. She's a mom, she's an entrepreneur, and she's a community activist. She's doing so many great things. Shay, that's an excellent hook on comprehension and making sure that your boys read, making sure that they know how to read, making sure that you're staying on top of it as a boy mom.
Absolutely.
Because we know, hey, little boys are rambunctious. That's just who they are. They like to play, they like to explore. Absolutely. Yeah. So talking about being a boy mom and talking about boys not liking to read, how are some other ways you ensure that your boys are reading? Because I know from having 4 brothers, it's hard to quiet the male mind. They're always wanting to do something. They're always running and gunning, and they want to explore the world around them. How do you keep them interested in reading?
Well, I just meet my boys exactly where they are. So one of the cool things about when I grew up, you asked, like, how did I fall in love with reading and words? Well, I watched the captions on the TV. So even to this day, I still leave the captions on the TV. So no one in my home is hearing impaired, but we watch TV with the caption. And I believe that helps encourage, them to learn new words, or, it helps with their word recognition, because at the end of the day, their mother does have that little degree hanging in the background. So I know that sometimes modifying behaviors start with just meeting people where they are. If your kids are gamers, let them game at the library instead of gaming at home, so that they can go around other gamers that'll help with their social skills, but also they'll be around books and they'll see literature and stuff about the games, and they'll naturally pick it up. You won't have to force it. But in the beginning, it'll take a little bit more encouragement, but you'll get there. You just have to stay positive.
I love that. I love that. Now, I love what you said about making sure that you have the captions up on the television. Parents, you see that? That's an awesome idea. Think about it. They're seeing words as they go across the screen, and they can ask you questions. Now, I want to ask you this. Did you give all your boys dictionaries? Because if they're seeing these words, how are they looking them up? Or are you telling them to look them up in other places?
So I'm a millennial mom. You know them, those boys of mine, they will Google anything. So I embrace technology in my house. Like, I'm not against it whatsoever. Let's go ahead and have that chat GPT talk. My kids, I wouldn't necessarily encourage them to always use things like that. But if that's the place that they decide to start to figure things out, go for it. Some of my kids aren't old enough to do that, but I've watched them, use the speech to text to look things up. So we definitely will use dictionaries when it gets to that point. My older guys definitely use them, but my younger guys, they Google it.
Well, because your younger guys are 4 and
5 and 7. So he just turned 5. Yep.
Oh, cool beans. So they're just starting their reading journey. The 7-year-old is more into his reading journey, and I'm sure that you introduced them to your favorite book.
Oh, you know it. We have it, several copies.
So speaking of having books, how important is having books in your home being a mom?
Oh, it's vital because as a mother, and I know sometimes books can be expensive, but as a mom, those are things that your kids can just reach for and grab. And, you don't have to think about it. We have to put things in place for us as mothers that save our sanity. And sometimes just having maybe library books in a car if you can't afford it. Or, with my kids' school, which is a blessing, they send them home with like 5 or 6 books at the end of the year. I know that there's some libraries that actually do like competitions during the summer where you can win free books. So if you're a mom who cannot afford them, or if you can, whatever, definitely always have them on hand because the kids will appreciate it.
Absolutely. And I know that you are a fervent and ardent reader. Do you model reading in front of the kids? Do you read to your children?
Oh, absolutely. And I go all the way out with it. I make sounds, I get animated, because you have to do those things if you want your kids to be interested. You can't just read it in monotone. You have to be the girl voice, the boy voice, the chicken, the cow. You have to do it all because that's what parenting is.
And that is absolutely wonderful. And I'm glad that, number one, as people see parents and they see young parents, they, old folks always have an opinion. But these young people are out here, not only are they killing the game, they're entrepreneurs, they're building businesses, but they're making sure that the kids really understand what's going on in their world. And they're doing a great job by modeling and making sure the kids see them read. Now, as a parent and as a professional, what do you think the state of literacy is among our small children, adolescents, and even our adults in the United States? And if you see it in crisis mode, what can we do to make it better?
So I definitely see kids moving away from reading. So those same technologies that I mentioned, they can be bad. If your kids depend on them too much, they won't learn how to do the things for themselves. So I think as a parent, it's your job to find that balance for them, because children don't know how to balance. If they like something too much, they'll just focus on the things that they like and stay away from the things that they don't like. And then they'll, have a problem facing adversity as they get older. So we want to discourage that kind of behavior, and we want to make sure that we let our kids know, hey, we're going to read some fun stuff. So yeah, 1 fish, 2 fish, red fish, blue fish, but we're also going to read the autobiography of Malcolm X. Or we're going to make sure we're reading things that teach you stuff other than how to rhyme or recognize words.
That is amazing. So you work with your students, with not only with your boys, but with parents and with your school to make sure that your kids and kids in the community have the resources that they need to make sure that they read well. Am I correct?
You are, absolutely.
I know that you do community advocacy. And I know that you've been major in telling the Tulsa and the Greenwood experience.
Absolutely.
So tell us about some of the things that you've been doing around Greenwood in the advocacy sphere to make sure that our children not only read well, but they have some of the things they need to grow up and have a great life?
Well, if you're not familiar with the history of Tulsa, there was a race massacre here a little bit over 100 years ago, and not a lot of people know about it. But over the recent years, we've been able to spread that news a little bit more, and that's because I gained access, and other people like myself, we gained access to the information that told us what happened here. And you know how we found out? We read. So when you go back and you read these newspaper articles, or you read these court documents that are not, like I said, sometimes reading is not fun. You're going to read stuff that you don't like, that makes you uncomfortable, but it's okay. You learn how to process those feelings. You talk to the people you need to talk to. That's why I have a great mentor. My mentor and I, we discuss these things, and I learned that, hey, it didn't just happen in Tulsa, it happened in other places. So what can we do to spread that knowledge? And usually for me, I lean back into my millennial behavior, and I choose to spread it via social media. So I talk about it a lot. You'll see me talk about it on my platform, or you'll see me out in the community actually at events talking about it. I do business on Greenwood. I do business in the Tulsa community. And that's important, because if you really want to address what happened here, it starts by fixing, the place that it happened.
And that is a correct statement. These are the things when we talk with our young people, because a lot of times when we don't know our history, we're doomed to repeat it. And right now we're going into a repetitive cycle if you look at the politics of the day and those things. And it's not because Black people are pushing that narrative. We have a lot of people that think that it's okay for us to be ignorant. It's okay for people to be marginalized. Why do they think that way? It's not that they truly think that way, but they think that it's easy to control people that don't know anything. It's easy to control you if you're not educated. It's easier to control you if you don't know your history. And that's one of the reasons why we have these conversations, reading about what really happened and not whitewashing it or homogenizing it, but making sure that our kids have an accurate knowledge of the things that we've gone through is vital. And that's one of the reasons I love talking with you.
Absolutely, but I would like to add, because I do understand, like, as you read through those things, I've actually been reading this book about mindfulness as well. I have to get you the title later, but as you read through those things, sometimes it causes emotions that, you don't know what to do with, sometimes like anger or sadness or whatever. So again, I feel like whenever you're reading those things, recognize your emotions and talk to somebody. You don't have to build it up. You don't have to let it sit and fester. Definitely discuss those feelings with someone, and then see how you can proceed forward. Because for me, working on Greenwood is healing work. It doesn't feel like work to me. It feels like this is where I'm supposed to be, and this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
And that is absolutely amazing. Okay, this time goes by fast. We got to take another small break for a commercial. Folks, we're going to be right back with the amazing Shay Miles as we continue to talk about the importance and power of reading. Stay tuned.
Since 1877, Jackson State University has been training students for a life of service and leadership to impact our global society. Ranked among the best HBCUs in the country, Jackson State University offers 47 undergraduate, 37 master's, 1 specialist, and 13 doctoral degree programs. Whether you're interested in the arts, education, public health, the sciences, or business, we're here to take you from ready to JSU ready. Visit jsums.edu and apply today.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the importance and power of reading. We've been talking about how to engage our children to make sure this reading journey is not only enjoyable, but also functional, that they learn things, and especially our history. I have a great mom with me, Shay Miles, and she talks about being a boy mom and how she's been able to, number one, make sure that her boys are reading well, because we know with boys, they tend to be everywhere. They're rambunctious. I have a son and I have my grandson, and I know how they do these things because they want to explore. Now, what are some of the other things that you do to help make sure that your boys not only comprehend, but they read and read well?
So I also put them into programs that encourage reading. So this summer, my one of my older boys, my 8th grader, he'll be a 9th grader this year. He's going to be going to a STEM camp, and at that STEM camp, they're at a university, at a major university down here in Tulsa. And at that STEM camp, they have required readings, and they make sure that the boys are learning, about technology and stuff like that. So I'm always looking for new opportunities to get my boys out there and reading and understanding what's happening in the world around them. It's not always about, what's in your immediate surrounding, but sometimes it's okay to venture out and see what's going on in other people's worlds.
Yeah, and so I know also that you also help by making sure that they have male role models, including their dad. Now, is dad a big reader?
God, no. But that's okay, because dad also encourages reading. So dad lets them know, like, dad will read every once in a while, but it's not like, hey, I'm reading like mom. But dad lets them know how important reading is, and if it's time for dad to sit down and read, he will. But the great part about being here where I am, my boys are around so many educated black men, so many smart black men that hold, degrees, and no shade to dad, that's not putting him down or anything like that, because he's educated as well, but he's not a reader. The other people that I know, they are readers, and they give suggestions and tell them, hey, these are the books you should read, because being a black man in America is different than just being a regular man in America, and that's important.
And that is a whole point in itself, because we know that black men have a totally different experience in education, when they travel, just being a black male. And so being a boy mom, the struggles of black men up front and personal. And being a black woman, we're here to support our black men to make sure they get what they need. And that's why moms like you are so important and so vital. Plus, you're a light for other black women that have boys, and they're like, well, this is what Shay's doing. I see her, she's putting her boys in the camp, or she's finding creative ways to make sure that they're learning. So that's really, really important. Now, let's address both boy moms and girl moms.
Absolutely.
And girl moms and girl dad. How can we just get our children to make sure that they're reading more, well, and being positive on this reading journey, that they're enjoying it? How can we engage kids more?
So Shay says, if you're a reader yourself, of course, let your kids see what you're reading. Now, if you're reading grown-up stuff, don't do that yet. Let them grow up. But, let your kids see you read, and let them see you doing the things. And it doesn't always have to be a book. Everybody thinks that reading is books. Sometimes you can listen to audio books, or you can, look at stuff on your phone. Like, reading is reading. So always let your kids see you reading, especially if you're heavy on your phone. Let them see that you're reading and not always watching videos, because I know that videos are a big thing right now, and that's fine and dandy. But if you want your kids to be better readers, which is the goal here, make sure that we're actually reading, even if we're on the phones. Now, if you're not a big reader, which I can totally understand that as well, then find other ways to, help yourself become a reader, because it's important for you to read too. You need to lead by example. So I would say start off with maybe like board games that involve a lot of words, maybe like a scramble or something like that. And then as you get better, or get more comfortable with words, playing games on your phone, with words in them, you start to pick up books, look at reading lists from, other people. There are great sites and blogs that give you lists of tons and tons of books. And I also have a post on my LinkedIn, shameless drop, of a set of books that you can read if you're an entrepreneur. So definitely the information's out there. You just have to be willing to find it and use it.
And that is very succinct, because there are so many different ways to try to get our kids to be engaged, but we have to model that behavior. And so I'm really glad that you said that. The other part of that is about them gaming at the library. I was not lost on that point, because you get them around books, and the library also has story time a lot of times.
You gotta be smarter than the kids.
Baby, that's what I'm talking about. Bringing it in, having them at the library already while they're gaming, and then start to look around and like they meet other gamers like, hey, there's this magazine on gaming. Let's read, and we're going to see how we can hack the game. And just so you know, parents, and I want you to know, I've got a friend that works at EA Sports. He was a gamer. He turned into a programmer. Shout out to my friend. You know who you are. But because he got so interested in gaming, he started developing games. He now makes 6 figures working for a major corporation developing games. So you can take your child's love of gaming and that love of technology, spin it into this journey on reading, and get them into coding and get them into where they're making their own games, producing their own things, and being entrepreneurs.
Creators.
That's so important and so vital right now.
Yes, we are creating creators.
That part. Now, you talked about STEM. You know, that's where I live at. You know, that's where grandmama gets down. How can we get our kids into science, technology, engineering, and math, and reading around those subjects and making it fun? You go.
Oh man, Shay says. For one, for a long time, I did not want to tell people I was a scientist. There's such a negative stigma around that, and I don't know where it comes from. I've been looking, I've done my research. Grandma, if you can help me out, please let your girl know. But there has been such a negative stigma around it, the field in itself, from telling people that, technology is going to take your jobs, or, they're going to use it to do X, Y, and Z. And it's, that's a part of it. Anything in the world, if somebody wants to make it negative, then it'll become a negative thing. But for the most part, science is one of those things that has helped way more people than it has ever hurt. And I feel like a lot of these children are in a space of wanting to fix problems, and they want to help the community. So I feel like we get them into the STEM field by letting them know how technology can help, instead of, being the ones out here saying, hey, it's going to hurt you, it's going to hurt you. No, technology is one of those things that'll help if you know how to use it. And that's very important to say. We have to know how to use it.
Well, let's think about it like this, because when we talk about science, technology, engineering, and math, we have to look at the everyday ways that we engage in STEM.
Yes.
People don't realize if you're cooking, cooking is a science. Baking is a science. If you're a mom boy, you got your partner, that your co-parent that you work with, the boy's dad, he might like to work on cars. Working on cars is engineering.
Yes.
It's mathematics. When we talk about the sizes of tires, that's math. Let's go even one further. If the boys like sports, because you're a boy mom, boys be hanging from trees. Well, they need to know the strength of the branch that they're hanging on so they don't fall and break an arm. So this is all STEM. There's so many ways. Farming. When we talk about Tulsa, we're talking about the heartland. We're talking about
agriculture is very big here, and people don't, they don't think about how science and technology plays a role in that, or, even in pollution. There is so many areas. That's why, I try to stick to the general term of science, but, technically speaking, people, my degree is a behavior engineer degree. Like, we engineer behavior. So all of it at the end of the day, it's science, and I think that our children will benefit from it once they learn that it was put there to help them. If you use this science, this technology, this engineering to create things that you're passionate about, because for so many years we have been marginalized or forced into these positions that we had to take because we had to survive. But when you allow these kids to dream and you say, hey, Shay, you can be whatever you want to be, and I actually grow up and be it, then you come back and tell them, hey, yeah, you can actually do these things. They'll go out and they'll do it too.
And that's why representation matters. That's why making sure that our young men and our young women see people that look like them, see people that are doing some amazing things. Our Mae Jemisons, all the folks, we're talking about Frederick Douglass Smith. He's one of the richest Black men in the world.
Yes.
He's an engineer as well as a venture capitalist. But people need to know about them. And the only way you're going to know about them, number one, is read.
Yes.
Because you can go and start to find these people and start to read their biology as a young person, and just really start to engage on that level. So
absolutely,
as you know, hey, the time goes by fast and furious.
It does.
We're done, but before we get done, I want you to give parents out there a few little tips that you do with your boys to make sure that their children are reading, comprehending, and getting on this reading journey to life.
Absolutely. So number one, parents, make sure you are getting your kids books that they will enjoy. So start out there, let them pick up whatever they want. Doesn't matter if it's a magazine, I don't care what it is, let them choose. After you give them the ability to choose what they like to read, then you ask them questions, say, hey, what did you like about that book? What interests you the most? Was it the subject? Was it the pictures? And then you use that to build your own little personal library, whether it be, you go and buy books, or you go and collect them from the library and have a schedule where you return them, or even if you use like free resources such as like, ebooks and things like that. Make sure you have a list of go-to books that you can go to for all of your children, no matter what age group they are, and use it. Set reminders on your phone. Make sure y'all read. Just build a routine. Hey, my kids, we read every night, 8:30. If we don't stray from that, that's what it is. And my kids grow to expect that. And as they get older, the older kids, I don't read to them, but they know, hey, it's 8:30, time to wind down. You just build those natural places where your kids can read inside of your home, and it'll create so much peace in your life. You'll appreciate the reading time because it'll get real quiet in there. That's the only time your house will be quiet as a boy mom.
I love it. Shay, you have been amazing. Tell people where they can reach you as far as their social media to get up with you if they want to learn how to be an entrepreneur, so you can guide them on this journey.
Yes, so absolutely, you guys. You can find me at Darty Deals on all platforms. I cater my content to solo entrepreneurs, so that's going to be those mompreneurs, those startups, turnarounds, any of those type of situations who need that extra support as far as like your tech is concerned. We got your back, so find me, Darty Deals. I love LinkedIn, but I'm on Facebook, Instagram, all of those things. You can find me.
Thank you so much for joining me today. You have been amazing.
Thank you.
So everybody, you heard what Shay Miles said. Your boy mom, make sure that they have content that is good for them. Let them pick their books. It doesn't matter whether it's a magazine, a comic book, however you can get them to read. Use the closed captioning sequences on the TV. That was another good point. That is amazing. And have these discussions with them so that they can know and enjoy the importance and power of reading. We'll see you next week. Bye now. You know what's going on in our society, book banning, and over 38 million children don't have books in their homes. Join me for some exciting segments as we talk about the importance and power of reading with my guest, Michael Gwynn from Dallas, Texas, on the PIC TV network, channel 1000.